안녕하세요, 여러분. 제 이름은 Diva예요. Hi, everyone. My name is Diva. Welcome to my channel. We are continuing on with learning conjugation in Korean, and now we're going to get into the rest of the rules. So this one might be a little bit of a leap from just learning families. Now we're going to be learning the rest of the rules that don't really apply to families. They're just kind of standalone rules. So as always, please make sure you take notes, and if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. I'd love to hear any feedback, or if there's anything you're particularly struggling with that maybe I can help you with, I would absolutely love to do that. And after this will mark the completion of conjugation as far as learning present tense polite rules. Then we're going to be moving on to casual, formal, past tense, future tense, all the good stuff. And then we'll finally be able to make some sentences. So I really hope you're patient and you're enjoying the learning so far. But other than that, let's get started. So far, we've learned what to do with the vowels that end in a, o, and u. But unfortunately, there are still some more rules to learn. This will wrap up the rest of your conjugation. Please remember we're only conjugating in the present tense and we're being polite. The other tenses and politeness levels will come at different times. We're going to cover a few different rules, so be sure to take notes and follow along. This is one rule you are going to see over and over and over again just because of how many words end in this. This is not a rule about vowels, but it's an ending rule. So far we've learned what to do with certain vowels, but now we're more focused on an ending, specifically for this rule. That is the hada ending. Hada on its own is a verb that means to do, and it's often used at the end of words to mean doing that verb. So if you ever see hada on its own or at the end of a verb, you'll know what to do. If your word ends in hada, it will always, always, always turn into he yo. The yo is in parentheses for a reason we will cover at a later time. Since we're being polite, please know that this will always turn into he yo in the present tense, being polite. 공부하다, 요리하다, 하다, 생각하다. These words all end with hada. So, per our rule, it will all change to 해요. Remember, the first step you would do is to remove ta from all of these words in order to conjugate it. Then we will turn our ha into 해 and add 요. 공부해요. 요리해요. 해요. 생각해요. Not so bad. This is one of the easiest rules to follow. You're just swapping. Try these words on your own. 그만하다, 사랑하다, 수용하다. You can pause the video for more time if necessary. The answers are 그만해요, 사랑해요, and 수용해요. Ready for the next one? Our next rule we're going to learn about is if your word ends in the vowel E and is not followed by a consonant. So now we're back to the vowels for now. Do you remember our rule about all u? Literally any vowel that followed it, as long as it wasn't a or o and it was followed by a consonant, ended up getting followed by 어요. This rule is kind of similar. However, if you notice this vowel, while it isn't a or o, it's not followed by a consonant. This vowel will not be followed by all, rather combined with it. Again, there is that key word, combine. When your adjective or verb ends in E and it's not followed by a consonant, it will be combined with the vowel all to make 여. So words like 마시다 and 가르치다 becomes 마셔요 and 가르쳐요. That will be the case for this vowel as long as it is not followed by a consonant. Be very careful at assuming rules. Make sure to check for what vowel or ending it has and check for any consonants at the end. Like with hada, don't assume just because it ends with a that you are going to make it hayo, Remember, the ending 하다 by itself is a lone rule, and it turns into 해요. Now you can try these words on your own. 느리다, 흐리다, 시다. Pause the video for more time if necessary. The answers are 느려요, 흐려요, and 쉬어요. Remember, if a shiat is followed by a vowel that is E or has a Y sound in front of it, it is pronounced with an SH sound. I do want to show you a difference between this and another rule, with the word 느리다 versus 멋있다. The rule we've just learned will not apply with 멋있다. Why do you think that is? It's because although our final vowel is E, it's followed by a consonant. Because of this, it follows the all-o family rule and will be conjugated as 멋있어요, 멋있어요. The next rule we're going to cover is one of my favorites, and that is the piep ending. Notice that it is not a vowel, but a consonant. You'll see this a lot with adjectives. When your adjective or verb ends in piep, you will remove it and add 워 in its place. There's no need to worry about the vowels here, just the piep. So for words like 고맙다 and 맵다, of course we remove 다 at first. Then we can remove the piep from both of the words and add 워요 in its place. They then become 고마워요 and 매워요. You can try these words on your own. 춥다, 덥다, 아름답다. Pause the video for more time. The answers are 추워요, 더워요, and 아름다워요. In the previous lesson, I talked about a word, 입다, which turned into 입어요. And I told you that we were going to talk about a rule that made you say, wait, why is this conjugated like this when now we're learning that you're supposed to remove the piep? Why isn't it 입어요? 입다 is one of the exceptions to the rules. So going forward, when I say, hey, we have an exception, this is conjugated like this, or due to certain rules, it actually gets conjugated as this, make sure to make a note because there's always something about irregularities in Korean that can sneak up on you. So just know for now, 입다, to wear, is correctly conjugated as 입어요, not 입어요. Again, the most you are going to see this is in adjectives. The next rule we're going to cover is not complicated, but there are a few tricks to it. That is, if your adjective or verb ends in the vowel ư. There are two versions to this rule, and we'll call this one version 1. For this version, the steps matter a lot. First, you are going to remove the ư at the end. Once you remove it, you have to look for the new final vowel. This could be the very last vowel or the only vowel in the word. So if we look at words like 기쁘다 and 예쁘다, after removing 다 and ư, what are the last or only vowels left in the word? E and 예. This all depends on what the vowel is, but when you find the final vowel and check to see if it has a final consonant or not, then follow the rules of that vowel. Sound confusing? Let's look at 기쁘다. We're left with 기 and a sung piep. Our vowel is E and it is followed by a consonant. So what rule does this follow? It would become 기뻐요, 기뻐요, because any vowel except a or o that is followed by a consonant ends in 어요. The same would happen with 예쁘다. It would become 예뻐요. Now it's your turn. Try with these words. 바쁘다 and 나쁘다. Pause the video if needed. The answers are 바빠요 and 나빠요. There is an exception to this rule. If you remove ư and there is no final vowel left, you will always use all as the vowel to follow it. I won't have you practice this, but just make note that words like 쓰다 and 크다 after removing have no vowel. So they will become 써요 and 커요. Now on to version 2 of this rule. We're still in the rule, but this time it's more of an ending. And that's if your adjective or verb ends in 르. This must be a combination of only lir and 르. Nothing following 르 other than 타. If your word ends in this, you will first remove from the end to the end of the first syllable or any syllable afterwards that isn't followed by a consonant. You will add a second lir to the bottom. And then you will need to figure out what the new final or only vowel is. Let's do some examples with 모르다 and 부르다. Let's remove 다 from both. Now we know we need to remove as well. To the bottom of both of our first syllables, 보 and 부, we are going to add a lir. Now we have to see what our new final vowel is and conjugate based off of all of our rules. Here we have o followed by a consonant. Because it ends in the vowel o and is followed by a consonant, it should turn into 몰라요. 몰라요. Next, we have u followed by a consonant. This should become 불러요. 불러요. It's a bit tricky at first, but I'm confident you can get this. Try these words on your own. 오르다, 올바르다, and 강마르다. Pause the video for more time. This time I'm going to go over the answers and how we got to them. 오르다, remove 다, remove Add a lir to the bottom of the first syllable. Because our new final vowel is o followed by a consonant, it becomes 올라요. 올라요. 올바르다. Remove 다 and Since the first syllable is already occupied by a consonant, we will put it at the bottom of the second syllable. Our new vowel is a followed by a consonant. This will turn the word into 올발라요. 올발라요. Lastly, with 강마르다, remove 다 and Again, because our first syllable is occupied by a consonant, we'll move on to the next open syllable and add our second lir. Just like our last word, because it's a and followed by a consonant, this becomes 강말라요. 강말라요. That is it for now for your conjugation rules. If you would like more practice, please feel free to click the link in the description below for a free practice worksheet. I know it was difficult and that was a lot of rules. You may have to keep referencing this video until you feel comfortable to move on.